How do I find the foreclosures? Well, that's a question I've been getting asked a lot lately. I think with the regular high home prices that we are seeing, buyers just want to be able to score a deal or find a property that no one else knows about. I'm Bethany Warnches, real estate agent with Addison Jones, and you are watching Tuesday Talks with Bethany, where I answer real estate FAQs. Today, I will cover how you find the foreclosures, the expectations for home condition and the process, and I will also cover the very basics of how a foreclosure works. So let's start with, how do you find the foreclosures? Where can they be found? You can find them in the MLS listed by a real estate agent, and they will come up in your property search just like any other home that pops into your property search. So that's one way. Another way is going down to the county courthouse register of deeds and seeing what's coming up for sheriff's sale so that you can attend the auctions. Then there are also websites. So get your pens ready. I'm gonna list them off here. So we've got HUD Home Store, Hubzoo, Accelerus, and auction.com. And with all of these, in some cases you need an agent, and in some cases you do not. Next, let's talk about expectations. The condition of the home may be distressed. It's obvious that the homeowners were financially struggling. That's why they're in default here. So updates, repairs, maintenance, those things were probably put on the back burner, not a priority. Not only because they didn't have the money for them, but why would they necessarily want to stick money into something that they are going to lose anyways? Losing a house is also very devastating emotionally, and there's going to be a lot of different emotions that a homeowner is experiencing. And they may do some things because of that. They may try to sell some of the basic home components just to make a little bit of money, or they might hurt the home condition out of anger, frustration, or really indifference to caring because it's not going to be theirs anymore. So why does it even matter? These properties may sit vacant and not be monitored very well. And because of that, if an issue occurs, it may not be discovered right away. And then if it's not discovered right away, that could lead to further damage. So what's an example of this? Vandalism is also more common at foreclosures, vacant properties like this. And so say a window was broken due to vandalism. Well, then an animal got in and nobody knew the animal got in for a couple weeks. You could say that some damage could occur out there. It could be trashed, it could be uncleanly, and basic home components could be missing, like pipes or wires. It's also pretty common that utilities get turned off. So as a buyer, for your inspections that you do or an appraisal, you often have to pay to have the utilities turned on and off for those things. It's also important to understand that bank-owned properties are usually sold as is, and you can't be expecting that this seller bank is going to be making repairs. Foreclosures are different than your standard transaction. It involves different forms that are more complex, and seeking legal advice is advised. The time frame and the procedures are different than standard transactions. And the bank that owns the property, well, they run the show. And you are just kind of at their mercy. They do things on their own timeline in their own way, and that's just the easiest way to summarize it. So let's talk about how the homeowner got here. And this is just a basic overview of how the foreclosure works. So someone can lose a house over back taxes, judgments, unpaid construction costs, child support, association fees that are past due. But the biggest one, and the one that everybody probably talks about the most, is defaulting on your mortgage. So if someone is in pre-foreclosure, they could be anywhere in this process until it is officially seized. So it starts when a homeowner misses a mortgage payment. Now, many creditors may wait 90 to 180 days after a property owner stops paying their mortgage before filing that foreclosure action. But during this 90 to 180 day period, the mortgage holder is attempting to communicate with their borrower and try to figure out options and work with the owner to correct that delinquency. So this is the homeowner's first chance to make it right. If they can't resolve the issue, then the mortgage holder will issue that formal notice of default. The notice of default includes a reinstatement amount, which is the amount necessary to bring the account back into good standing. So it's not that full loan amount, just the amount to bring it back into good standing. So this is all of the outstanding payments, the late fees, the interest, and the penalties to date. So this then is the homeowner's second chance to make it right if they can pay all of that in the reinstatement period. If a homeowner can't, then a summons and complaint is filed, which initiates the foreclosure process in court. A lis pendens is also filed, and that is at the Register of the Deeds, which gives notice to possible interested purchasers and lien holders that their interests may be barred because there is a pending lawsuit. Now, the homeowner typically has a pretty short time frame to respond to this complaint that's been filed against them. Oftentimes, they don't show or they don't have a valid legal defense, and the foreclosure judgment is then issued. The homeowner is given a redemption period or a last chance to pay. And this time, it's payment in full of the loan balance. So not just the past due stuff, but the payment in full of the loan balance. And then it's all the other costs and interest and fees that have accrued, including attorney's fees. And then the length of this redemption period or last chance, that can depend on multiple factors. If the homeowner cannot redeem the property, it then goes on to the sheriff's sale, which, like I told you earlier in this video, was one of the ways that you could show up to get a foreclosure property at a sheriff's sale. And then as a public bidder, you have a down payment that day, and then the rest is given shortly after, and who is the highest bidder, or was it the bank, and then they repossess that property. So once that sheriff's sale is done, it goes back to the court, and the court must confirm the sale. So what they have to decide if the bid that was made, if it was fair value, or if it shocks the conscience of the court. So the court won't confirm it until they feel that it is fair value. Property owners in Wisconsin, they can sell or redeem the property up to the confirmation of the sale by the court at the end. But if it hits that confirmation, then it is over. So that is a brief, basic overview of the foreclosure process. There's more details and it's more complicated, but it just kind of gives you a nutshell of how it operates. So the next time you're wondering where to find the foreclosures, I now gave you how to find them. I also prepared you about what to expect going into a foreclosure and the condition. It's also something I should quick note here is your average basic loan may not be able to work because it may be in that much of disrepair. You could look at some type of renovation loan with your lender, possibly. And then last of all, now you actually have a better understanding of how that process works, of the whole foreclosure thing. I am not going to get into short sales. That is even more complicated, but I hope this gave you a better overview of foreclosures today.